Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Women's World. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, cultural tourism in Egypt. We'll be talking about the importance of cultural tourism in Egypt, the most prominent cultural touristic sites and destinations here in the country, and we'll be having a special report about this topic. Also we'll be hosting here in the studio Yasmin. She is a tour guide and she will tell us everything we need to know about cultural tourism in Egypt. But first we're going to take a look at the press and we'll be right back. Welcome back. An interesting news item that we found. Champion Hannah Gouda dares superstar Mo Salah to a table tennis game. On her official Facebook page, world table tennis champion Hannah Gouda dared Liverpool player Mo Salah to a game to table tennis. She wrote, "Champions Challenge. Golden hands versus golden legs." She asked Mo Salah, "If you played a game of table tennis with me, who do you think will win?" And Soraya Muhammad is the best scorer in the African Basketball Championship so far. Despite the loss of Egypt in the quarterfinal game against Mozambique, player Soraya Muhammad is the best scorer in the African Basketball Championship so far with 73 points. She was also the best scorer in Egypt's game against Mozambique, where she scored 17 points. And Basant Khalil, Egyptian student from Nubia, wins the African title at the International Chinese Bridge Language Competition for foreign college students. Cairo University student Basant Khalil and Ain Shams University student Muhammad Gihad won the preliminary competition, Chinese Bridge for University Students, which was held in Egypt last April. They both traveled to China to represent Egypt in the final competitions for students worldwide. And Brigadier General Manal Atif has been promoted to the rank of Major General. She is the director of the Office on Violence Against Women, the Human Rights Sector at the Ministry of Interior. Cultural tourism and archaeological sites are the most important and oldest types of tourism here in Egypt. Let's take a look. Egypt has a thriving cultural tourism industry built on the country's complex history, multicultural population, and importance as a regional center. Egypt's cultural tourism trade has fluctuated since the 19th century, increasing in popularity alongside the rise of Egyptology as an academic and amateur pursuit. Successive Egyptian governments have placed great emphasis on the value of cultural tourism. Egypt has many of the effects of the pharaonic, Greek, and Roman museums that have created cultural tourism since the discovery of ancient Egyptian monuments, decoding hieroglyphics, and even now does not break missions effects. Travelers, tourists, and authors of books. Tourism to Egypt has published hundreds of books in different languages and was a means to attract tourists from all over the world to see Egypt and its effect and the ancient civilization through the national museums and archaeological sites. The most important areas of archaeological tourism in Cairo and Giza are the pyramids. The 3 pyramids are one of the 7 wonders of the world as they are considered unique architectural achievement. Saqqara set up the first stone structure in the world and is on the Saqqara pyramid built by King Zoser. Area of Dahshur. It is one of the most important archaeological sites in Egypt, which includes the most important archaeological treasures and most important of these pyramids, Bent Pyramid, known as the Pyramid Yellow, or the Curved Pyramid of King Senefro. The Black Pyramid of King Amen Maht III and Pyramid King Senusert III. Tourists from South Asia and East Asia in particular have been identified as responding well to marketing campaigns that focus on Egyptian cultural tourism. The Tourism Bureau representatives have announced plans to increase marketing spending on those regions. Before 2011, tourism accounted for approximately 11% of the country's GDP and was a significant job creator in the economy. In the aftermath of the 2011 revolution, tourism dropped dramatically to 6.7% of GDP. Foreign travelers have stayed away during the political turmoil of the past 3 years. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned in the beginning of this edition of the program, we'll be talking about cultural tourism with our guest today, Yasmin Diwidar. She is a tourism expert. She will tell us what we need to know about cultural tourism here in Egypt. Of course, Egypt has various kinds of tourism. It offers multi-choices and multi-types of tourism, but perhaps cultural tourism attracts special types of tourists, and that's what we are going to talk about today. Let me welcome you in the beginning, Yasmin. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
If we talk about cultural tourism here in Egypt, we mean visiting museums and archaeological sites.
Of course.
What do we offer in cultural tourism?
We offer a lot, actually. We offer a long path of history. We offer also culture of people, the manufacture of old time that still are revived up till now in streets like the street of Al-Mu'izz and so on. Tombs, temples, pyramids. So we offer a wide variety of culture tourism. History in its primitive form, but in a modern way also, because we still have everything up till now.
Yes.
It's not like rubbles that we are talking about.
Yes.
We are talking about real things, real people who are still making same things as long time ago.
Yes.
So
I believe that also it's not about visiting places, but also festivals and events, as you just kindly mentioned. Al-Al'a, or the Citadel Festival, is just taking place these days, and it offers multi-choices of famous Egyptian singers, also singers from all around the Arab world, from Algeria and Tunisia and Morocco and so on. Religious performances, even famous pianists, everything. So this is again part of revealing your culture to the world.
Of course, of course. Mahka al-Qal'a, as they call it, has always been such an attraction to people on local and international sites, both ways, because normally it takes place in summer. We have a lot of people from the Arab world visiting Egypt at this time in particular, and they would love to go for these places, especially Mahka al-Qal'a, because there is more like singing and narrating of poetry. People from different places like Tunisia, as you said, and Algeria and so on, they come to perform in Mahka al-Qal'a. So that is part of the great attraction and the plan to promote Egypt on a proper way. Culturally on a proper way, especially for 2020, which is supposedly such a booming season for the culture tourism.
Yes. Speaking of 2020 being the year for booming cultural tourism, also the Grand Egyptian Museum is expected to be inaugurated by 2020.
Of course.
This is, I believe, that will be the highlight of 2020 as the cultural event.
Yes, of course. The opening of the gem, as we call it, the Grand Egyptian Museum, is taking such a huge part of 2020, and the culture and the show. It's more like a show. It's showing Egypt to the whole world in a different way and in a different aspect, quite modernized, but also it takes you in a path of history, because all of the digital media and the technology, the fascinating technology that people will find and would see with their own bare eyes inside this museum especially, it would be great. And also next, or side by side to the opening of the Grand Museum, our Minister Rania Al-Mashat has been quite active in promoting Egypt side by side by going to forums like the Forum of Switzerland that she has been to in last May,
Berlin as well,
and Berlin and the ATM and Dubai. She's been quite active recently, but in the last Forum of Switzerland that took place in May, they discussed Egypt to be the model of overcoming tourism crisis. and also they discussed the how high security levels in Egypt are now, and the Gallup Global Low Poll, which is it states the rating of the security around the world. Actually, we took more rating now. We are safer than the US and the UK, and that itself, on its own, that would bring us a lot of tourists.
Yes.
And it is a side of the promotion of our country.
Yes.
But not only that, we have made also, we have launched a promoting campaign between Egypt, or between the Ministry of Tourism and CNN, the international channel. And they are going, or they have started already promoting Egypt since last May as the destination for people and for the different criterias and categories of the audience of CNN, and they have the way to get to their audiences. So we are tackling every part around the world to promote Egypt for 2020. I think it should be quite a promising season, to tell you the truth, for culture tourism especially.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Okay, perhaps if we talk about culture tourism, this type of tourism attracts particular type of tourists from certain age categories, from certain countries. We all know that older people are usually interested in cultural tourism and visiting churches, mosques, cathedrals, museums, old Cairo, Coptic Cairo, Islamic Cairo, and so on. But what caught my attention is that younger generations as well, particularly from certain countries such as France, Belgium, and Japan, are very much interested in cultural tourism in Egypt. Japan is a country that is fascinated with the ancient Egyptian civilization and very highly cultured people, as well as the French, because they study Egyptology in schools at a very early age. How do you see that?
Well, of course you see that in numbers, and in the tour sites when you go, you find people from these nationalities, especially, they are all over the place, and you can feel the difference between those people and other who are coming just for tourism, who are maybe staying in the resorts, and they're come just
they're
for
more into fun and diving and enjoying the weather.
But then you see, for example, the Japanese, how sophisticated they are. They are very much into culture. They have a paper and a pen, and they are very interested in every word said by the guides. The Belgians, the French, the German, they are very much into the culture tourism also. And English people.
Yes.
Normally the older that they would come more from the English, but recently for myself, and I'm going to speak for myself now, I've noticed a difference in the age groups of people coming to Egypt, because although it's not a good thing, but it is, the fluctuation of the dollar has affected our currency in a way, but it made it easier for younger people who would have never been able to afford the trip to Egypt to come and visit it nowadays. And believe it or not, a lot of them are much interested into culture than diving and snorkeling. They would come and visit the pyramids. They would go to the south, visiting Aswan and Luxor, and not leaving a single tomb without a visit that they can afford.
So let's talk about the most important cultural touristic places in Egypt. You mentioned the pyramids, the Valley of the Kings, the temples, Fiyala, Karnak, and so on. What are the most important cultural destinations here in Egypt?
Well, there is no Egypt without the pyramids.
Of course.
Of course. This is the visit of the lifetime.
Dahshur, I believe, as well.
Dahshur is an amazing place, but unfortunately, it's not well promoted. Being a military area for such a long time, and it was not accessed except recently. So that should be promoted well, because it's an amazing place that people don't really head to.
Yes, Saara as well, I believe, Yasmin.
Saara is beautiful. Saara is
Saara is a place that keeps, you know, unearthing more treasures all the time.
Because it has everything. It has the pyramid, it has tombs, it has the reliefs, it has the...
Recently even discovered the workshop, for example, the workshops that have been found, the mummified cats, I mean, so many things.
And the ibises and the monkeys. This area is very rich, and I think we will keep discovering things in this area for a long, long time. We haven't really unearthed everything yet. But also we have destinations like Philae Temple, Edfu Temple. These are brilliant places. You feel the impact in these places the minute you put your feet inside. It gives you peace.
Positive energy.
Exactly.
It's also known for positive energy.
Exactly. It gives you positive energy. It's amazing. And also it's full of culture and history. And even if you don't understand, if you're a tourist and you don't have a guide and you don't understand what's on the walls, it would be fascinating just to go around and watch the details and the reliefs and the colors, how vibrant they are. Tombs, the Valley of the King, oh my God. Imagine those reliefs. Some of them are so vibrant that as if they were painted yesterday. There are some other destinations.
Hatshepsut Temple is also an amazing.
It's beautiful.
Carved in the mountain. It's a very unique temple.
It's amazing.
Very colorful as well.
But we have also some temples that
are not that famous.
Exactly, but they are beautiful.
Such as, perhaps this is a good chance we can talk about.
The Temple of City First, for example, that we call the Temple of Abydos or Abydos, that's a magnificent temple. For me, when I go inside, and I'm so much into tourism, I've been there for a long time, and I've been to Abydos plenty of times, but every time I go there, I feel the workers are still carving those details inside while I'm entering to that place. Unfortunately, it's not that well promoted because it's a bit far. It's in the middle distance between, if you're coming from Cairo or if you're coming from Aswan, it's the same. So unfortunately, places like that, they
need to be promoted.
Exactly.
And accessed.
Yes. So why, for example, don't we make a tiny airport for small planes that can take tourists easily to places like that, like what we do in Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel is a fire temple. It's a beautiful temple, a fascinating and a very important one. So we have a plane driving people to the place if they want. So why shouldn't we do something like that for the other remote temples that we have? People are missing a lot.
Yes, yes, interesting.
My favorite place would be the Temple of Philae.
Okay.
It's an amazing place, especially at night. Sound and light show. It has the best sound and light show ever in Egypt.
Well, unfortunately, our time is up, but thank you very much, Yasmin Duidar, tourism expert, for shedding light on the most important culturally touristic places here in Egypt. We hope that, as you mentioned, there are magnificent places that need attention. We hope that we can find more promotion and to these places, more accessibility to these places. Let's keep our finger crossed, but thank you very much for coming today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us in this edition of Women's World. I'm Hala Al-Hamilawi signing off for now.
in my